So my mother just flew in from London. So she's here. And this is the first time she's been here for one of my little stand-up things. So I thought I'd play it safe and talk about my theory of how sprinkles and blowjobs are going to save the world. So, some of you may have heard of my good friend Daniel Epstein. He is 28 years old and was recently named the World Entrepreneur alongside Richard Branson. And he founded the Unreasonable Group. And their mission in life is to solve the world's biggest problems and in turn increase happiness. And whenever I'm hanging out with Daniel, I think, well, that all sounds very laudable, you know, solving the anemia crisis in Africa and things like that. But actually, Daniel, if you want to increase world happiness, I think you need to look at the ratio between the number of people that want to give blowjobs and the number of people that want to receive blowjobs. Because from my understanding, that ratio is totally out of whack. So when I speak to my guy friends, whether it's a one-night stand or a long-term marriage, it seems that blowjobs do not come at the rate desired. And when I talk to my girlfriends, it seems that some will, some won't, but very few want to. But fortunately, I don't have that problem because my mind is wired like a fucking blowjob machine. But at the beginning of this year, I was so lonely and bored of going to bed by myself that I actually started dating this guy that I wasn't really that into. And it was the first time that I was ever not into the blowjob situation. But I wasn't going to be the non-reciprocal blowjob girl because my mother always taught me to be polite. And to return favors. And my mother also said that a problem is just an opportunity to learn a new skill. And so I thought that if I can convince my brain to want to go down on this guy that I'm not that into, then I can map that onto all the other women that don't want to give blowjobs, and we can solve the blowjob crisis, make everybody happier, and save the world. And so my plan was to make a cock sundae, which was basically taking it and covering it in cream and sprinkles, because cream makes everything taste delicious and sprinkles make everything look beautiful. So I go to Rosars and I go to buy my sprinkles. And you guys, sprinkles, your American sprinkles are a lot bigger than the English sprinkles. And so anyway, so I find these ones and they're multicolored strands and you see them on donuts all the time, and I buy them and I head to this guy's house and I make my cock sundae, which is just a shit ton of sprinkles. And it looks delicious, but I rapidly encounter a problem. Because your American sprinkles, unlike English sprinkles, do not dissolve. And so, at some point, my mouth is now full of freaking sugar, and at some point I have to chew, and it makes this really awkward crunching sound, and it is not the sound you want to hear when you get a blowjob. And so, I decide the best move would be to look up at the guy and kind of smile at him reassuringly. And then I learn that they're in my teeth. And I'm basically just looking like this multicolored, insane, smiling Cheshire cat. So it didn't go as planned. So at least I wasn't the non-reciprocal blowjob girl, but I was the crunchy blowjob girl, and that was not a reputation I wanted to have. So I go back to Rosars, and I look at the sprinkles again. And I buy those tiny little round ones that you've probably all seen, and I go back to the guy's house and go to town with my sprinkles, and these guys, the dye leaches everywhere. They also do not dissolve. And they're round, so they roll, so the bed is full of like fucking ball bearings. And I basically fail again. So anyway, the next morning I ring my mother. And I tell my mother, hey, I really need you to get me some English sprinkles on expedite mail. And I also need you to make sure they dissolve. And she says, oh, well, I'm very busy today, blah, 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 but I can probably do it tomorrow. I was like, mother, if you've ever loved me. I was like, I need you to see if they dissolve, and if they do dissolve, then get them in the mail. And she was like, well, when do you need them? I was like, mother, I needed them last night. And then she says, Jennifer, why? Why do you need them? It's like, mother, I'm trying to save the world. And so I wasn't doing that urgent cupcake decorating project that I may have lied about. So anyway, about a week or so later, the English sprinkles arrive, and I go to the guy's house, and it works perfectly. The sprinkles dissolve, I go to town on this guy, I'm totally into it, I've achieved my aim. But of course at some point the sprinkles in the cream like run out. But my mother always said, finish what you've started. And she also said, always have a well-rounded meal. And I'd had a lot of sugar from my cream and sprinkles, so I had to hold out for my protein.